Greetings, YouTubers, it is I, Nintenjoel, the bearded one, here to provide entertainment for you. Hopefully. So, anyways, what I have for you this time, I haven't done for a little while, is games Nintenjoel has destroyed. I'm sure you read the title. If you are illiterate, sorry about that. So anyway, how did you get on YouTube? If you're illiterate, how did you get on? Never mind. So, I got 3 games for you that I've destroyed. And by destroyed, I do not mean I got so mad at them I smashed them in the street with a hammer. No, these are 3 games that I have actually royally kicked their asses. I felt that they were good enough games that they needed to be destroyed, and therefore it had to be done. I was the one to do it. So, the first game that has received such attention, and the oldest out of these, well, the first one I beat out of these, debatable actually, the second one I beat right around the same time, when I was a kid. So, the first game is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Part 2, the arcade game. Now, calling Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 the arcade game is maybe going a little too far. Yes, this is pretty much the exact same game as the arcade game, but it is a very, very poor port, looking back on it now. When I was a kid, though, I was pretty fucking amazed at the fact that they were taking a game that I played at my local 7-Eleven and threw tons of quarters in. They were going to release that on the Nintendo Entertainment System. I was like, how are they going to do that? There's no way. And, yeah, sure enough, it came out. I remember hearing about it before it came out, and as soon as I had the chance to play it, I did. I've owned it several times. I've owned multiple copies, and yeah, it's one of the first games I beat as a kid. And to be honest, it's been so long, I don't really even remember the end of the game. I just remember beating it. I do remember the snow level was really cool, and going into the Technodrome, and a few other things, but I barely remember the end. I think you fight Krang at the end, but it's been literally, I think I was like 10 years old, maybe even younger, but it was a long time ago, and it is a very good game. You know, the pros on this game are, if at the time you were playing this game, it was amazing to get this on a Nintendo Entertainment System, just to be able to play it, no matter how crappy it may have come out. Which I use the term crappy loosely. It's a great game. It's just that it is a very poor port. And that's one of the cons, is just that it's the graphics aren't nearly as good as the original, the arcade version. The music's a bit choppy comparatively, and definitely the sound effects suffer for sure. And there's definitely little differences between the games. But, that being said, it's an amazing game. I love it. You know, another pro about this game is that the levels are very different. They're all just very different. Lots of variety with bosses. You do fight the Foot Clan soldiers all the time, so they do get a little tedious, but there's like little robots, and there's little Mousers, and Foot Clan soldiers, and plenty of bosses, and just a variety of different levels and feels to every single level, and the music's different, and it's got a little story, and you know, it's just a really good game. So definitely recommend that game. I can't praise that game enough, even though it does have its little negativities there, mainly in the graphical and music department, but yes, very fun game to play. The second game I have for you is a Game Boy game, and one that is very, very near and dear to my heart. I'm sure it is to some people as well, but it's just something that seems to be very, very lost in time. There have been so many Mario games through the years that it's hard to really remember all of them. There are so many of them, and I think one that kind of gets forgotten about, maybe because of how short it was, or maybe it's just because it was on the Game Boy, but the one that came with the system, at least with my system, was Super Mario Land. Or no, actually, you know what, I take that back. It was Tetris that came with my system, but when I got it as a kid, my parents had bought me Super Mario Land as well, with the Game Boy and Tetris. And what's funny is my mom used to borrow it all the time. She loved playing Tetris. In fact, my original Game Boy was missing the back battery cover because of my mom. So anyways, Super Mario Land, very good memories of playing this game. It's a very short game though, and I suppose that would be kind of a con, but pros are, it's very nicely paced Very well made game. The controls are very good for the game as well. It just feels like a Mario game. What was neat about it is you have the two levels where you do something completely different. The first one, you get in a submarine and you're able to shoot around objects. It's kind of like the underwater levels of Mario, but you're in a submarine and you get to just fire torpedoes constantly. And then similar to that, if I remember correctly, the last level of the game, you are, yes, it is the last level of the game, you are in a little airplane and you're shooting missiles, and it's really fun. I must point out, the music for Super Mario Land is superb. It is so good. If you don't believe me, check out Smooth McGroove's Mario Land cover. He does the second world. It's the first level on the second world, I believe. It's the water world where you start out on the UFO, and anyways, or you start out below the UFO, and anyways, he does a cover of that music track. It is amazing. It just makes you remember how good the music is for this. I know it's black and white. I know it's old as shit. I know it's kind of a short game, but it is well worth playing, and it's kind of satisfying to be able to beat a game in such a quick amount of time. Also, I did like the fact that on that game that introduced the little bonus game where if you reach the high door instead of the low door at the end of each level, you get a little bonus game where you get either 1 extra life, 2 extra lives, or it's like 1, 2, and 3, and then like firepower or something like that. Guaranteed to win every time, something. But really cool little mini game, very good game. The last game I have for you guys should not be a surprise at all. I've talked about this game several times and did a video comparison with this, and it is very well known that this is one of my favorite games in existence. I have a tattoo. And this game is Shadowrun for the Super Nintendo, and boy, I can't say enough good things about this game. Can I think of any cons? Yes, actually I can. Before I get into the good stuff, there are 2 cons with this game that I can immediately think of. One is the length. It is kind of a short game. I beat this game very quickly after I got it, and was kind of disappointed by that because I wanted the experience to go on forever. The second con would be... shit, I forgot the second con. I guess I'll get back to it. This game is amazing. It's just... oh, I do remember the second con. I was still trying to think of it. Okay, the second con is... okay, there are 2 modes to this game. There's a regular world where you are running around the streets and you're shooting people and you're just trying to talk to people and do all kinds of things, collect items, get money. Yen in this game, new yen in this game, and but one of the negatives about this game is there's another part to it, and that's the Matrix. That's where you're in the computer system and you actually fight computer programs, and you're trying to hack files and like steal money from people and turn off security cameras in buildings and all kinds of stuff like that. Very cool game. Anyways, the Matrix parts in this game are very little. They're very deliberate. There are no like optional Matrix runs really in this game, whereas on this Sega Genesis game, which I mentioned in my Shadowrun comparison video, the Sega Genesis version of this game, the Matrix is way more involved. Fighting the bad guys, the computer programs and stuff in the Matrix is a lot more intense, and actually the Matrix seems to take up more of my time than the outside world. So, definitely kind of a con there on this version, just that there's not as much Matrix stuff. However, the outside world I actually find more pleasing than the Genesis one. Graphically, musically, I like the way you have almost a point and clicker. It's pretty neat. I like the way you aim. You basically have to pull up a crosshair on your screen, move it around, and then start continuously firing. It's not very complicated. It's not a very complex battle system. I guess some people would call that a con, but I really enjoyed it. Shadowrun for Super Nintendo is amazing. It takes place in the future in Seattle, and basically everything's run by mega corporations, and there are people that run the shadows that like hire shadow runners, and they hack people's computer systems. They do odd jobs for people, like they might kill somebody, or they might escort somebody somewhere, or they might take important information to somebody else. There's all kinds of stuff you can do as a shadow runner. In the Super Nintendo game, you don't get into that quite as much. It's basically fairly straightforward story. You just kind of have to find your way around. The Genesis version is very different, and I highly recommend that you check out my Shadowrun comparison video. so you can get a better idea of what the differences are between the two. But really, there's just a feel to Shadowrun for Super Nintendo that exceeds the Genesis. I'm not sure why. A lot of people argue the Genesis is definitely the better game, but I don't know. Super Nintendo, just the feel, the atmosphere. Waking up on the slab in the morgue is a lot different than just, I don't know, trying to find out what happened to your brother. The stories are a little bit different on the two games, and the story's a little bit more gripping with the Super Nintendo one. The gameplay is a little more involved in the Genesis one. This is turning into a Shadowrun comparison video part 2. Anyways, so that's all I have for you guys. 3 games that I've beaten and feel that they are very worthy of beating. I highly recommend that you guys play these games. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 is just a classic that most people probably have played, but if you haven't, it's not very expensive. Go get a copy. There are plenty of ways to play Game Boy games these days, and Super Mario Land is a great game that won't take up much of your time and is just pleasant to play. It's got this aura about it, this just pleasantness about it. I don't know how to describe it. The music is very happy. What you're doing is kind of happy. There's an Egyptian world, and there's an underwater world, and there's just all kinds of stuff going on. It's really, really neat and deserving of your time. And as I've probably said 100 times, Shadowrun is very deserving of your time, whether you play the second Genesis version, the Super Nintendo version, or if you want to advance on to Shadowrun Returns on Steam. I highly recommend that as well. But in my opinion, Shadowrun for Super Nintendo would be the first one to beat. It's the one you'll get through the quickest and have a very good time at, and just get familiar with the world really quickly. So that's all I really have for you guys. If you liked the video, give me a thumbs up. That like button's down in the corner. And if you are subscribed, that's great. But if you're a new watcher, please hit that subscribe button. You'll be informed of when I do future videos. And I keep forgetting to mention this, but I actually have a Facebook page for Nintenjoel. It's linked to my YouTube account. Just go ahead and find that and like my Nintenjoel page, and you'll get all kinds of conversations and posts from my videos and all kinds of goodness. As a matter of fact, my trade lists are going to be on there very soon, so if you are interested in trading games by any chance, you can do that as well. And last thing I have for you guys is please comment. Leave a comment. I really want to know what you guys think of these games. Have you beaten them? Have you played them at all? Or after seeing this video, have I convinced you to go ahead and try to get these games and play them? Leave me a comment, let me know. I'm genuinely interested in what the hell you guys play. I always answer my comments. Pretty much every comment I think I've ever gotten on my videos, I've responded to, or at least 90%. I might have missed a couple. Some days I get a lot of comments at once, and I do kind of forget once in a while, but for the most part, I answer all comments. So, yeah, shoot me a comment, shoot me a like, give me your subscription, and keep rocking the retro games, guys. Thanks for watching. Haha! You guys thought I forgot about the contest winner, but I did not. I wouldn't do that to you guys. But thank you very much for everybody that did subscribe, watch, like, comment, all that happy horse shit. I really do appreciate it. The contest winner was a surprise for 3 reasons. A, he was local. B, I just met him recently, and C, he very much is active on my channel, comments, watches pretty much all my videos. So very cool, and I'm sure you can probably guess who you are. Jake Christoph, thank you very much. Really cool that it was somebody local and that I just met recently, and you also entered the contest right near the end. Anyways, it was totally random. I just assigned everybody that commented a number, and was put into a random number generator, and out pops Jake's number. And so I'll just get together with you sometime, man. I think you left me your business card, or you can get a hold of me on YouTube or Facebook. Either way is fine with me. So that's it, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for subscribing. I really appreciate all the views. I didn't think I'd get 100 views at all. Now I'm at like 110. We'll see how many stick around now that they haven't won. Haha, we'll see who the fakers are. Anyways, that's all I have for you guys. Thanks for watching, guys. Keep rocking the retro games.